All right, Matt Morrow, Charlotte Football Insiders. We are here with an exclusive interview with West Charlotte head coach Sam Greiner.
Exclusive.
Well, I mean, it's just me.
Yeah.
People like to throw that around.
Yeah, I like it. This mic is high tech, man. This is big time right here. I like this.
Well, first of all, Coach, let's talk about this year's team, man. What do you like about this group?
Like my favorite thing about this group is that last year we haven't let up from last year. We found out our identity throughout the middle of the season, carried it through the playoffs, won the championship, and we became this player-led team. Like, we can have an identity, but now the players own the identity. We got to correct it still as coaches and do certain things, but these players really have this refuse to lose attitude, like they still have a lot to prove. A lot of times when you win, there's that moment where you're like, we won, and you exhale, and you're like, okay, it's time to relax a little bit, and we'll refire the engines. I remember, we literally played in the state championship game, literally days before Christmas, a week before Christmas, the 21st, and then I said, we're not going to start back until February. Let's give them at least a month off, and then we'll start the weight room thing. I'm talking about 1 week into it, they were getting agitated that we're not lifting. And so week 2 into January, we had to start doing winter workouts. And it was like, wow, these kids feel like they still got something to prove, and it's carried on to now. We've never won a 7-on-7 championship, and 7-on-7 is not real football. I'll be the first one to tell you that it is not real football. You can play out there with 7 DBs and 2-man under and, 2-dog, whatever you want to call it. And it's just not real football. But what is real is the competitive spirit these kids have, that refuse to lose attitude. So every tournament we've been in, we've won. We won the King of the Hill, North Carolina. And then, people were mocking the competition. And last time I checked, Grayson and some of those teams pretty good that were in that. Somerville was in the championship in South Carolina. And those teams. And Weddington's always really good. But, there's always going to be naysayers. And so we go to South Carolina. And we did really well in the tournament. We went 8-0 there as well. But we had to come from behind. With 11 seconds to go, we end up scoring when 2 plays to beat South Point, who we play week 3. Right. And they won the King of the Hill, and they're a very talented team. And they had their own cheering section. They had 90 players there. I don't know how they afford to spend 50 linemen there to get work, but it was pretty amazing to see. So, hostile environment. South Carolina Gamecocks, I feel like they're rooting for the South Carolina team, but we still came up with the win. And that's the difference. The team that we had guys down. I mean, KD's been our leader for a long time, and KD's nursing a little bit of a hamstring right now, and we need him for the season, so he's doing everything he can to get better. But some of those guys weren't able to play in that, and he's one of our leaders. But the identity of this team has grown, that refuse to lose, we're going to win and fight and scrap, everything's not been given to us. We got to go take it. That's the special thing about this team. And I've never been a part of a team that's been a kind of a front runner. People are we're on top of the mountain and people are coming after us. And these kids are doing a great job of owning that aspect.
Awesome. So that kind of brings me to this whole discussion about the Kings of Charlotte. The discussion between you and Coach Baker at Huff on social media. Now, who the Kings of Charlotte are. And, let's talk about that for a minute. Huff has defeated you guys pretty soundly. And,
they did a little stat the other day, 14 years in a row. I ain't been here 14 years, but they've won 14 games in a row or something like that. Amazing. With 0 championships.
Wow.
Yeah, not just saying. They're an amazing football team. People, it's not a rivalry yet because we haven't beat them. It can only be a rivalry when you start beating a team. Last time I checked, and I'm not the smartest geographic kind of guy, but West Charlotte is in the Charlotte district, and we're in the city of Charlotte. So when we say we're the Kings of Charlotte, we mean it, and that means we are the Kings of Charlotte because the Kings of the Queen City. Last time I checked, the Lion's still king of the jungle. We've always talking about man of the throne. We did that, won the state championship. And we're owning the 704 area right here in the Charlotte. And Huff is an amazing football team. Yes, we have not defeated them in many years, and we plan on hopefully seeing them in the playoffs and working that strategy out where it gets to the 1 column for us over there. And but they're not from Charlotte. They might be in Charlotte Mecklenburg schools, but they're in Cornelius. So they probably are the Kings of Cornelius and the Lake Boys and all that stuff, which is cool. But I mean, we're making a post, and some people need to chime in, and it's cool. So I wish that talking about pay from coaches in Charlotte and things of that nature. You know how all big fights, they're well promoted. You got the UFC, you got the Mayweathers back in the day. Sometimes there's a villain. They want to see this guy get defeated, or they want to see this guy win. So you got the underdog effect. All these things are. I think this is the first unique time where CMS has really got some promotion going on, and people don't understand. Like Baker, McFadden, Tinsley, and some of the other guys. Like I still talk to these guys. They're colleagues, but we want to whoop each other's tail. Like. Our players want to beat their players, and our team wants to beat the whole deal. But we still talk. We collab together. But promotion is the key. I guarantee those tickets, you better get them early whenever we get those games.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I agree with you. You mentioned coaches pay down, so let's talk about that. It came up, obviously in the Observer, they did an article about coaches pay in North Carolina. What can really be done to try to solve this issue? Going on.
It is the most extreme issue you can imagine. Let's put everything in perspective. Head coaches, assistant coaches, all coaches in Charlotte Mecklenburg schools are underpaid. There's liability issues that we have to take on. When I go into an interview, I am a full-time teacher. I work a full-time job. South Carolina, a lot of those guys don't even work a teaching job. They're football coaches. When I go into an interview, I might talk about teaching, but they want to know about football. So if I'm going into an interview and I'm making, let's say, $5,000-$6,000 a year taxed as a bonus at 48, whatever 50% it is, me taking on all that liability, the hours we put in, we literally are working for I think it's close to 13 cents an hour, and that 13 cents an hour is gone if you make the playoffs. That's just regular season. So we are punishing success. This is the only thing I've ever seen in my life where success is penalized. Like there is no room. Like you go to the third round playoff, well, you're losing money as a Charlotte Mecklenburg. You're working longer hours. I mean, I work 110 hours a week in the season. And it's crazy. The hours you put on film not even included. And these kids' success, the NIL for college and all these things, we are put in a position to try to help them be successful. We are the only time. Like you go to Clemson. All right, let's just talk about Clemson for a second. Clemson, you got the president. Who's the highest paid person in the Clemson thing? The head football coach. I'm not saying we got to be paid more than principals or anything like that, but we have an identity as culture changers in all these schools. I was at Harding when football was successful. Guess what? School is successful. West Charlotte football successful. The culture of West Charlotte is going to be successful. So how in the world are we justifying what we're doing, what we're paying right now? It's going to come down to we're going to have to get together and really, sit down with everyone and hopefully, we are here as teachers. They're paying us as a bonus. We are getting disrespected by the way that they're doing the bonus. And it's sad. It really is sad. Something needs to be done. We're not asking for $100,000 from $5,000. We're looking at what can we do to pay more coaches. A lot of these great teams have 15, 16 coaches on their staff, and we're paying 5 of them and a head coach. It's getting to be ridiculous. There's nothing. We have to be in here in the summer to be successful, okay? I can't pay them a dime. Nobody, they're not getting a dime, but they're here for 4 or 5 hours. What are we doing? Like, they have to work other jobs and families. Like, this is important, but football is a lifestyle that helps the culture of CMS and its schools. And we're going to do whatever we can to fix that.
Well said. Well said. Obviously, you mentioned Harding, kind of talking about that a little bit. If you look at the of Harding and 2017 last year, how do they compare and contrast? And if they met on the field, what team?
Look, that was good. That was good, Pet Man. Look at you down in the back pocket. Well, first of all, the Harding run was spectacular because that program was extremely, the culture was in a tough spot. And I'm connected with my son Brahim, going through that emotional aspect. We weren't very good at throwing the football. I mean, Brahim was good at throwing it, but we didn't have unlimited receivers. We had a really good running back that everybody knew that, at one time was number one player in the country. A great offensive lineman is playing in the NFL right now. We had some really talented players. Our depth is the main difference. Like, the team that we have now is a lot of depth. We have depth, and we were young and we won it. That was a senior-led team minus Kavarish Crouch that won the championship at Harding. God had his hand on both teams, in my opinion. I think divine intervention is involved in both of those, and I can't say what divine intervention is going to do if they met up in a game because both of them are different identities. More talented from the depth perspective would be West Charlotte, hands down. As slight, like, individual players, like top heavy, Harding had a few of those guys. Both teams were led. The comparison were led within the team. Like, they took ownership of the identity of who we are. And when you get hit in the mouth, what are you going to do? What's that old Mike Tyson saying? Everybody's got a plan until they get hit in the mouth. We had plans when we got hit in the mouth, and then we kept hitting people in the mouth. And a lot of times they didn't have a plan after they got hit in the mouth. And that is something beautiful to watch in football, and both of those teams had that aspect. Now, if they met on the field, it would come down to, both defenses would be same defenses. Offensively, it would be a little bit different going against each other because of the threats that we have offensively here, but that would be a pretty cool game to see. I would love to not coach in it and just enjoy watching it, but we would have to see how that happened. Yeah.
Awesome, man. Awesome. My last question, man. A lot of people throughout the city, tend to dislike you. Just golly, that's that coming. Let's warm up to this question. How does that make you feel? Do you embrace that kind of hate and emotion that you bring out?
This is good. I hear you. I think as a growth as an individual in myself, when I first started coaching, I had an issue with, I wanted everyone to like me. I was like, man, I'm a nice guy, really trying to do things the right way and trying to do things this way and that the other. I'm like, well, I'm somebody. And I realized something. I'm not comparing myself. I'm not Tommy Knox. Tommy Knox got a lot more championships than me, but I have followed similar paths where he started and went. And so that stuff does come out. And I remember when Tommy Knox was here, not many people like Tommy Knox either. So sometimes it's okay to embrace the villain or the heel. It's good for a movie. All that stuff happens. And when you embrace that, I'm okay. Because at the end of the day, I just want my guys, my coaches, and my players that are around me every day and my family to love me, and we love each other and we get after, because that's the network you see every day. Everyone on the outside is going to try to bring you down. But that's the world we live in. Like, if you believe in, heaven and hell, which I do, that's exactly how the world is. You got to stay close in your foundation. And my foundation in this football team is us together. And whenever you get branched out in the world, it's going to try to pull you down and tug at you. That means you're doing things the right way. And once I learned to embrace the, I guess that villain aspect, as you would say, it's okay. It's someone's got to be it, and I'm okay with that. And it's good TV. Maybe we need to raise the ticket prices or something. That's what it is.
Well, Coach, you've done a great job, for several years now. Congratulations on the championship and your recent award, being selected Coach of the Year.
I appreciate it. I thought you were going to say the Harding Hall of Fame, but I'm not. I'm not in that one. Yeah, I missed the boat.
I'm sure that will happen in due time. Sure it will.
All right.
But once again, appreciate your honesty, and good luck this season, Coach.
Yeah, Godspeed. Appreciate you.